What is up, homies? My name is Felix and I am back with another video that I'm bringing you today. And in this video I'm going to be talking about beat block. I get a lot of people who tell me that they're going through beat block, they can't make beats, and they ask me what to do to get over it. So basically I'm going to be telling you guys how I get over beat block, the different methods that I use that work for me. But before we get into this video, I just wanted to say that you guys should check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud, which will both be down in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I produce, my Discord, my beat store, and I also have a sample pack that's out now that'll be in the description below. And there's some really good samples on there. I worked on it for quite a bit, so you should go check that out as well. So yeah, now we can get into this video. So the first thing that I should probably say, for those of you who don't know what beat block is, it's basically kind of like writer's block. If you know what writer's block is, it's essentially just when you can't make beats. It's when you are trying to make beats and you can't come up with anything that you like, that sounds good, which can obviously be very, very frustrating. And even if you didn't know what it was called, you've probably experienced it at one point or another. But yeah, so one thing that's important to note is that it is different for everybody. Everybody has different methods of getting over their beat block. What I do might work for me, but it might not work for you. It might work for some people or whatever, but I'm just going to be detailing what I do, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of it will work for you as well. So the first tip that I have is just take a break. A lot of people tell you that you need to be, 24/7 working on beats, making music, doing stuff with beats. That's not totally true. You can take a break and be a human being every once in a while. You can go play video games. You can take a break and go do whatever for a while. Go outside, go for a run, play some video games if you want, go watch some YouTube, go watch some Netflix. Whatever you need to do to take your mind off of beats for a little bit will definitely help you, I think. Some of the best beats that I've made after taking a break for 1 or 2 days, because it kind of just clears your head and gets you, right back into the game and back into your, vibe and your flow. So another thing that I do a lot of times to get over beat block is just listen to a bunch of different music. So basically I'll listen to a bunch of different genres, not just rap, because if you're listening to one genre all the time, let's say you listen to rap music, or just like a certain style of beats all the time, eventually those are going to be the beats that you make. Like, let's say you listen to pop music all the time, you're going to make those type of beats. So it's important to listen to a lot of different, wider range of varieties of music in order to keep your influences pretty diverse and make sure that you're not making, the same stuff over and over and over. And for anybody who's interested, here is a list of some of my favorite non-rap albums of all time. And for those of you who are opposed to listening to anything other than rap music, here are just a list of a bunch of, underground or lesser known rappers who I think have a lot of talent and a lot of potential. So yeah, basically it's important to always be listening to new and different music so that you can keep yourself, fresh and not just, one track minded on, one specific genre and stuff like that. I usually just think about music pretty often and the way people make music and the way people are influenced by certain types of music. And I've kind of come to the realization that the only way to make completely original music is to either listen to everything, like literally every different genre of music, or to listen to nothing at all. Because that way, if you're listening to everything, you take influence from everything, and if you're listening to nothing, you're making something that's, completely from your own mind. But that's pretty much impossible because everybody's listened to music at some point in their life, so they have some sort of influence in one way or another. But yeah, that's just kind of one helpful tip. Just listen to a bunch of different music and hopefully you'll find inspiration in there. So another thing that I'll do a lot of times is just watch YouTube videos that are music related or beat related, and a lot of times I end up learning something really new and cool, or I end up taking a lot of inspiration from just watching videos and seeing how other people do stuff. Like, basically just go on YouTube and look for some sort of beat related thing that you've never known before, or something that you have always wanted to learn. Just go and watch a video about it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll look up, like top 10 FL Studio tips and tricks, or I'll look up, FL Studio hotkeys, or I'll look up like a music theory related thing that I hadn't known before. And from that, I'll usually get a lot of inspiration to, try something new, or just, mess around with the program. So yeah, basically just watch videos on stuff that you didn't know before, or that you have always been curious to learn about. But however, also, don't be afraid to watch videos on stuff that you think you already know, because what I usually do is I'll skip over videos, or I just won't click on videos about stuff that I think I already know. But what I've been doing recently is just clicking on videos of stuff that I think I know regardless, and a lot of times I'll learn, a small piece of information that I didn't know before that's really helpful. So yeah, even in videos about stuff that you think you already know, you'll probably learn a thing or two anyways. So it's important to just, be always trying to learn more and always gather more information, because with music, the sky is completely the limit. There's no limit at all to the stuff that you can learn. A lot of people ask me like, oh, how long did it take you to learn music theory and all this stuff? I still don't even know everything about music theory. I will probably be spending the rest of my life learning things about music theory, because there's always something new to learn. No one can ever learn everything, and also there's always new methods of how to do certain things that people come up with, you know, every single day. Like something that you think you already know how to do inside of FL Studio or LMS or whatever, there's probably a better way to do that somebody is, you know, going to discover eventually or has already discovered that you don't know about. So it's important to always, you know, be hungry for more information and, you know, always want to learn. Because if you always have the same information and you're limiting yourself, like this is the cap of the stuff that you are willing to learn, you're always going to be bored with music because you're not wanting to learn a new way to do this or a new way to do that, or like new cool tricks that you can do with your instrument or with your DAW or whatever, because you're limiting yourself, so nothing is ever going to be too interesting. But yeah, anyways, that's that. Just, you know, watch YouTube videos and see if you can learn something new and be inspired by that. But yeah, anyway, so the next thing that I'll do is kind of weird to explain, but a lot of times what I'll do is just essentially change my mentality. So most often what us producers do is go into our DAW or pick up our instrument or go onto our computer with the intention, with the sole purpose of wanting to make beats. But kind of sometimes what you have to do is just change your mentality. Like honestly, just go into FL Studio or go into LMS and just mess around with certain stuff. Like there's a lot of things that you can discover just by taking the time to mess around with the program and really get yourself familiar with every different piece of the program. Like basically just explore everything, figure out new ways to navigate around the program, figure out new hotkeys or shortcuts and stuff like that. You could even just do something as simple as like, you know, figuring out how to change the background or figuring out how to change your theme, just stuff like that. Just little stuff like that can be enough to inspire you to make something cool and make some good beats. And in a way, this kind of goes hand in hand with the thing I said earlier about taking a break. Sometimes it's important to shift your mentality away from making beats for a second so that you can kind of re-inspire yourself to make beats and, you know, do some cool stuff. So my next tip that I'll do sometimes that goes kind of hand in hand with the last one and with the first one about taking a break, put yourself in a different environment. A lot of times if you're in the same environment, you're getting the same kind of inspiration and you're getting the same kind of vibe, I guess. But if you go somewhere else, like let's say you know, take a walk to like a pond or something, you're gonna get a different vibe from that pond than you would from just your bedroom or from whatever setup that you're making your beats from. If you just kind of distance yourself and, like I said, you know, take your mindset away from making beats for a minute, you can get inspired from stuff like that. And like I said before, it's the little things that can inspire you. Like let's say you take a walk to that pond and you see a duck or something and you get inspired to make a beat because of that duck. That's kind of a weird example, but whatever it might be, whatever little things that can inspire you can be very important. So yeah, just changing to a different location is something that I do a lot. And I'm the type of person who likes to walk outside a lot. And just by walking outside, it kind of clears your head and gets you, you know, refocused and back into your swing of things, you know? Alright, so the last tip that I do is for those people who don't want to take a break, they don't want to get away from their computer, they don't want to go outside or anything like that. This is something that's a little bit more technical. So if I'm really trying to, you know, force myself to make beats and, you know, kind of push myself in the right direction on making beats, which is not really necessarily the best thing to do. It's kind of better to give yourself a break, like I said. But if I'm trying to do that, basically what I'll look at is this. And this is not going to make sense to you if you haven't watched my how to make chords and chord progressions video. So go watch that right now. But essentially this is the circle of fifths, and this shows you every chord that's in a key. So basically what I'll do on here, without, you know, going in depth and explaining it, basically what I'll do is look at this, I'll pick a key, and then I'll play with all the chords that are in that key. So for example, I'll pick up my guitar, and I know that within the key of C, the chords that are in there are gonna be F major, C major, G major, and then D minor, A minor, E minor, and B diminished, but that doesn't really get used that often. So I'll just mess around with different variations and different patterns of those chords within that key, and I'll just try to get something that I like or try to get something that inspires me to, you know, make a beat or make a chord progression or whatever. But if you don't care about learning this at all, what you can do is just go into Google and just search up chords in F sharp minor scale, and then it'll give you all those, and you can, you know, go to your piano or go to your, you know, piano roll inside of your DAW and just click in those chords and try to get different variations out of it and see what sounds good to you. Also, what you could do is try to experiment with different chord shapes. So what I've been doing a lot recently is taking a chord progression and then doing inversions of some of the chords. And I know that's not going to make sense to some of you who don't know like a lot about music theory or making chords or anything. But again, right there, that's something that you could look up to watch a YouTube video on how to do chord inversions, or, you know, just different ways to make chords and stuff like that. That could be something that you learn or something that you look into. Also, a lot of times you'll fall into a specific pattern of, you know, making melodies the same way or making chord progressions the same way. Try to make your chord progressions or try to make your melodies a little bit different. Like, let's say you always have, you know, a descending pattern with your chords. Change that up a little bit. Try to make the first chord here and then the second chord higher up, and then the third chord higher up and the last chord way down, or something like that. Just try to change it up, try to do something different than you usually do. With your melodies, try to make your top melody maybe spaced out more, try to have less notes in it, or try to have more notes than you usually have. Whatever is different from what you usually do, try to just experiment with that and try to gain some inspiration that way. Also, another thing that you could do is look up different modes. So if you know a little bit of music theory, you'll know that there's the major scale, the minor scale, and then the maybe harmonic minor too. But there's a lot of different modes actually. So there's Lydian, Mixolydian, there's Phrygian, Dorian. What you could do is look those up and try to make melodies or chord progressions within those different modes, and that'll definitely give your melodies a whole different vibe to them than they usually have. For LMMS, you could just go into your scale highlighting and probably select any one of those things that I just talked about. You can select a new scale from the ones that you usually use and just click it in, highlight a new scale, and try to make a melody in there. And FL Studio, go to your helpers and then just select a new scale, and then again just try to make a chord progression using those new modes. And I know some of you probably do use the different modes, but for a lot of beginners and for I think a lot of people in general, because I don't really use the different modes, it's a good thing to look into and a good thing to mess around with, I think. Like I said before, with music there's so much to learn. You should never stop trying to learn new things and trying to better your musical knowledge and just become a better producer or music maker, guitar player, piano player, singer, whatever it may be. You should never ever stop trying to learn new things. So yeah, basically that's gonna do it for me in this video. Those are just kind of all the little things that I do to help myself get over beat block. Most of the time it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just have those periods of time where you just can't make beats and nothing's going right, but that's that's life. Sometimes you just gotta wait it out, and you gotta just have confidence in the fact that eventually it will get better, and eventually you'll be right back to making some fire beats again. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm glad I was able to share what I do to get over my beat block. Let me know in the comments below what you guys do or anything that helps you, because I'm sure that you guys could also help me a lot and help the other people in the comments a lot too. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. Check out my Instagram, my SoundCloud, songs I produce, all that stuff down in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time.
Turn me up, let's go. Damn, I feel like the man now, yeah. I cannot turn bands down, yeah. Chopper make them stand down, yeah. Got these bitches running wild, yeah. Like a thug in the night. I'ma take you